I'm Luke Servell. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Gaffer. Well, we're coming to the end of the Thanksgiving Day weekend here in the States. Just prior to this, I was up in Canada, in Toronto, where I was part of my mom's memorial. She was 90. She passed away in her sleep. It was a great time to celebrate her life with friends and family. While I was up there, I was hanging out with my sister and brother-in-law. And if you recall from episode 118, my brother-in-law has quite a cool train set up in his garage. He's got a HO train size, and he is a self-proclaimed train nerd. Well, because of that, he heard about, as they were developing this sort of amusement center. It's like an amusement park, but it's miniaturized, and it's called Little Canada. So it's downtown Toronto. Even though it's open, they're still building onto it. And it's inside, and it's all at HO scale as well. They've got like the Niagara Peninsula, they've got Toronto, they've got Quebec, and they're adding on. They're going to have a northern area, a western plains area. It was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. When I was growing up, because we have Dutch ancestry, we would end up going to the Netherlands a fair amount. And where my mom grew up in The Hague, Den Haag, is nearby the sea, so Scheveningen. And within that area, there's a place called Madurodam. And that's a miniaturized world. It's a larger scale, but you sort of walk around and you can see the trains, planes, automobiles, and buildings in beautiful detail. Then there's a place that I've heard about that my brother-in-law and sister have been to in Germany. That's sort of like the gold standard, which is miniature wonderland, so miniature wonderland, something like that. And that's an inside space, and I think it's a couple levels, and everything moves there. All the cars and planes and boats and all that. In Little Canada, they're working towards that, but they use video projection really well. It's like video projection with a gobo on it, so it just projects on the area that they want it to show moving water or whatever it is. Then there's, they have like the Rogers Stadium, Rogers Center Stadium, and there's little video screens. The lighting, though, is what I want to show you, and that is, they just do a really good job of incorporating LEDs into the vehicles, into the street lights. They have a transition from night to day, day to night, just a nice, real smooth transition. All these miniature aspects of these spaces just show up really well. And then they also do have some moving vehicles, and they show you how that's done.
So inside each vehicle, we've got a motor that powers this back axle, and that's the entire drive system of the vehicle. That's how they move. We've got a battery towards the back that powers all our electronics, so the LEDs, the motor, as well as this computer chip in here, which is a microcontroller. So think of that like a teeny tiny computer that does a couple of very specific tasks that we program it to do. What it's running is an infrared sensor in the front of each vehicle and an infrared LED on the back of each vehicle. The steering is all done up front by this little tongue of metal. That has a teeny tiny little magnet on the top of it there. What that does is it allows the steering to track to a steel wire that runs underneath all of our roadways. And that drags the steering back and forth, allows the car to turn left and right.
But what are you programming?
So, the programming all comes in with the infrared sensors in the front of each vehicle. So they can detect the infrared signal from the back of the car in front, and they know to stop. That's the primary thing that the microcontrollers in the vehicle are doing. So there are a few other things that we're doing with that as well. The infrared LED in the back of each vehicle, of course, is on the entire time the vehicle's on. As the car runs, the battery starts to drain, and that LED gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer over time. So what that allows us to do is, if you look here, on a number of our roadways, we have these little white boxes that you can see right there. So that's another infrared sensor. What that's doing is it's going to read the infrared signal coming off the back of each car that passes by. It will analyze that signal, and if we determine that it's too low for that car to make another full loop around the track that it's on, then it's going to send a signal to this black box right here, which is a miniature train switchboard. What that's going to do is it diverts the wire that runs underneath our roadway to send the car off down a different lane. At which point they'll trundle all the way around, and eventually come to rest where you see those cars sitting right there in our low battery lane. They'll sit there and wait for us. All we have to do is go back, take them off, put them on charge, and put a fresh vehicle on the road.
Do you ever have accidents?
Frequently.
Warren just witnessed one.
Did you?
Yes.
Yep. So those will happen typically a couple of times an hour. The system's pretty good, but far from perfect.
So do you go rescue them?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a large part of the job of all of these cameras here. We focus them on a whole bunch of different problem points that we've got.
Right, that you figured out.
Exactly. So places where cars will come off the road most frequently, where we know we get mile-ups.
And then the section that depicts Ottawa had this amazing, little show about around Canada Day. I just shot everything on an iPhone. They're very happy to, let you do that. They're very, friendly, helpful, answer questions. You can talk to the modelers even, and you can make sort of a mini-me of yourself, and then pay a little bit to have that put into the displays, which is brilliant because then you'll come back and show your friends where you are in the display. If you're a Wes Anderson fan, just that miniature world and how that can help you think about how you light the real world is another aspect to this. There's also a place in Chicago, in the Art Institute, in the basement, that has little windows that you can look into, and it's sort of historical rooms that are in miniature. And that was another place that Wes Anderson really enjoyed. So there's a number of these places, around the world. There's probably a lot more, but these are a few. And if you're in Toronto, do check it out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.